Assynt in Sutherland is a beautiful part of Scotland, but it was here in 1830 a murder occurred, and it was covered up. Murdoch Grant was a pedlar, selling his wares in the northwest highlands, at outlying farms and cottages. He made good money, and always carried it on his person. On the morning of 11th March 1830, he set off to sell his goods at the wedding of Betty Fraser and Angus Matheson in Assynt. Having done a good trade there, he said he was heading to Drumbeg, and was last seen alive making his way towards Nedd with his pack on his back. Around a month later, a courting couple happened to be at the side of a loch some 2 miles inland from Drumbeg when they saw a body floating in the clear waters. Once the body had been recovered, it was identified as that of Grant. He had a deep wound on his head, and his pack was missing, so foul play was assumed. Among the locals to help retrieve the body was the local schoolmaster, Hugh Macleod, who watched as the superstitious locals carried out their custom of touch-proof. Everyone present was expected to touch the body of the dead man to prove their innocence of having nothing to do with his demise. It was believed that if the guilty party touched him, blood would appear. Macleod refused to touch the body, citing it as superstitious nonsense. Instead, he declared that the death was due to natural causes, and that his head wound had been caused by his body hitting rocks in the loch post-mortem. The local magistrate, Sheriff Hugh Lumsden, and the minister, the Reverend Mr. Gordon, were sent for, with the minister agreeing with the schoolmaster about the wound on Grant's head. Robert Grant arrived in Assynt some time afterwards, not satisfied with the story of his brother's death, and ordered an exhumation. Although this was done, no further light was thrown onto his death. Macleod insisted that his brother had died of drowning, and there was no evidence to suggest anything else, but Robert's instinct refused to let the case lie. What bothered him was that no money was found on him, and that was unusual. There was also the missing backpack. After 6 months, it still hadn't been found. Grant undertook his own inquiries. He spoke to the local shopkeeper, who told him on that very morning the schoolmaster had come into the shop but dropped his purse. 10 gold sovereigns had rolled out. Now that was a lot of money for a poorly paid schoolmaster, and he'd noticed Macleod had expensive tastes, taking out young ladies that must have been costing a pretty penny. He also discovered Macleod's outstanding debts had recently been paid off. He took all this information to the local magistrates, and Macleod was duly interviewed. They found his answers to be evasive, and he was arrested. The authorities began to search for evidence, but found little. They needed the backpack, so it looked likely Macleod would have to be released. That was until Kenneth Fraser, a tailor to trade, became involved. He had the gift of second sight, and came forward to say that he'd seen the murder in a vision. He'd been asleep at home, when a voice told him where the pack was lying, a place he'd never been to, and didn't recognise. The voice told him in Gaelic, "The pack of the merchant is lying in a cairn of stones in a hole near their house." The voice didn't name Macleod, but he got a vision of the house from the south, and there was a burn beneath it. He went on to describe the place where the murder had been committed, and said where to find the missing backpack, describing some of its contents. He also believed some of Grant's possessions would be found there. Accompanied by a police officer, he took the man to the site of his vision, and although they found nothing there, they did find 5 silk handkerchiefs hidden in a hole on the south side of the burn. Macleod was charged with murder. His trial took place before Sir James Wellwood Moncrieff, Lord Moncrieff, at the Inverness Circuit Court on Tuesday, 27 September 1831. At the trial, William Ross, surgeon, and Mr. R.H. Grant spoke of the post-mortem they'd carried out. A deep wound of 1.5 inches and 2 inches in length was behind the left ear, with that part of the skull battered in, as well as other wounds to the head. They believed these wounds had been inflicted with a blunt-edged iron instrument, such as a shoemaker's hammer or hatchet, and that they were the cause of death. His death was instantaneous. They believed when he was discovered he'd been dead not more than 10 or 12 days. There was no evidence of drowning. 22-year-old Macleod was found guilty and condemned to death. On hearing the verdict, he shouted out, "The Lord Almighty knows I am innocent," before being led away. Much of the case centred on Fraser's dream. Fraser was in the employ of John Macleod, a tailor at Clachtoll. On 11th April he'd had a drink with Macleod and noticed he had £1.11 on him and a red pocket-book. He said he was a schoolmaster at Loch Broom, but told Fraser to say nothing about it. They went on drinking, with Macleod paying for it all. In the April, a messenger asked Fraser to help search for the backpack, as it was said he knew where it was. This was corroborated, as he told Hugh Graham of the dream in February. Macleod confessed to the crime. Previous to the murder, he'd committed theft on several occasions. He said, "I was in great poverty and had watched the pedlar all Thursday for the purpose of taking away his life and robbing him. I slung my father's mason hammer, the handle of which I shortened for convenience, below my greatcoat." He went on that he knew where he had to pass, so hid, and when he spotted him, had joined him, being friendly towards him. The weather was turning foul, so he suggested they turn round. They approached the loch, Macleod in front. He turned round, and with a violent blow under the ear, felled him to the ground. He lay sprawling in great agony, but never spoke. He then took the £9 and the pocketbook from him, gave him 2 or 3 violent blows, then dragged the body into a loch, as far as he could. The body floated, so he got a large stone to weigh it down, then threw the hammer into the loch. He then rifled through the pack, taking stockings and silk handkerchiefs, before sinking the heavier goods in a different loch. He concluded that his life was blighted afterwards by the image and cries of the poor man, so took to drinking to blot it out. He saw the body every day when passing the loch, but didn't have the courage to go and retrieve it and give it a proper burial. He ended by stating, "It was not the evidence of man which condemned me, but the will of God." Macleod's sentence was carried out on the afternoon of Monday 24th October 1831, before a large crowd, with his body then sent to the Professor of Anatomy at the University of Edinburgh for dissection. It was said for many years afterwards, on 11th March, just as the sun set, at a certain mossy bank on Loch Assynt. The sound of a single blow could be heard, followed by a long drawn-out sigh, then panting and the sound of running footsteps. If you enjoyed this episode of Scotland's History, please like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, thank you for watching.